on the chart in the background, we have plotted out every past quad witching date in September for Bitcoin's history, which is actually a major pivot for price action, typically speaking. And we have found some or several very interesting statistics upon that as well. Now, I should probably first explain why we're even looking at quad witching dates and what it means. Well, quad witching is essentially something that happens only 4 times a year, as quad would imply, and it's a major expiration for your stock options, for your futures, for your stock index futures and stock index options. I always forget that last one, but that's it right there. And basically, you can understand this as important intuitively, because if major positions are expiring, that means that big money managers are going to have to start to, change around their positions. Do they want to roll it on to the next month? Do they want to change it around? Do they want to do something completely different? That's why these dates, these quad witching dates, typically correlate with major pivots on the market, whether it be to the upside or the downside. So we'll go through them here. And I think just at first glance, as I kind of blow this up, you can see that a lot of these actually were local lows in many cases. We can go back to the most recent one, which was September of 2023. Quad witching date happened right here. And as you can see from there, Bitcoin put in, or was in the process of putting in a low throughout that whole month, essentially. And from there, it was straight fucking up. The time before that was 2022, of course. And as you can see, Bitcoin also putting in a low here. Bitcoin did rally off this low, by the way, as well. A decent rally, even though it doesn't really look like much on these charts, but that was a nearly 20% rally. And then we did have a bit of a black swan with FTX collapsing. You might argue, or some people might argue, that, hey, without that black swan, this chart probably looks more like this and then goes up, maybe a little more flattened out. But of course, we don't have, can't really make excuses for it. But at the end of the day, there was a 20% rally. This was very likely a pivot, and well, and overall, price actually did emerge from there. The one before that, September of 2021, very obviously right here, this was the low before Bitcoin launched much higher. In this case, this was I'm actually just curious how big this rally was. Yeah, about a 74% rally. The quad witching before that, September 2020, again, Bitcoin coming off of the lows right here, putting in a major low, and then just, vertical for the next year. From there, we have this September of 2019. Again, quad witching happens right here. Bitcoin puts in the low at that time and does rally up actually very significantly before coming down a little bit later. Again, another black swan here. It's like multiple black swans within just a few years. Makes you really wonder. But this was, again, it doesn't look like much on the charts, but that was a over 36% rally. Then we have 2018. This one was on the lows and Bitcoin went lower. So just because, it's September doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go up from there. It just means it's a pivot. And that was indeed a pivot. Price did go nice and down from there. 2017, very obviously a low right here, just vertical after that. And of course, 2016 coming after the halving, again, in the process of putting in a major low here, basically sideways but vertical. And then again here, 2015, again, in the process of putting in a low and then vertical. Even here in 2014, in the heart of a bear market, it put in a low here. This was a pretty big trade from bottom to top. This was a 72% rally, despite obviously continuing further to the downside later on. But again, a pivot point for the next month, basically October going up before further continuation to the downside. This one over here, a little bit weird. This one is like, what even is this? It's not necessarily a pivot. It's just continuation. So I don't really have anything to say about this. Just kind of a sideways boring lull plus upside. And this one over here, a nice pivot before actually some downside. And again, it doesn't look like much here, but this was a decent move, about 25% move to the downside. So that's actually really the only one that we can see as like an obvious downside pivot. Again, later on it did just, generally go up again, but hey, it is what it is, man. Anyways, from there, if I just tally this up really quickly here, and we look at all the ones that were essentially up versus down, we have this. I would consider this one up. This one is also up. So that's 2, 3, 4. Definitely not this one. Definitely not. I would also say not this one. 5, 6. No, 7. And we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 out of 12. So a little bit better than 50% were major lows before launching higher. Is this one going to be the same? who the fuck knows? But at least you have some data on that now. It does typically correlate with major pivots on the market, especially to the upside. But going further from there, I do want to now just bring you to some more data here, where I've gone through and I measured basically from the quad witching September date to September close. And I found something interesting as well. Out of all these iterations right here, which I actually forgot to include 2023, but this one would also be positive, by the way. So this would actually improve. It would be 11 out of 13. 11 out of 13 of those closures would have been positive. So let me just very quickly get my calculator out over here. 11 divided by 13. About 84.5%, a little bit above 84.5%, did close positively from that quad witching date till the end of September. And then again, October is traditionally a more bullish month. And the average return, the average gain for those was about 5.25. So we're not at the quad witching date just yet. Again, I am recording this far in advance, but let's just assume Bitcoin's somewhere around here. Who knows what it's going to be on September 20th, I believe it is. But let's just say it's somewhere around here. What would 5% on top of current price action look like? That would actually bring Bitcoin back above 60,000 bucks. Doesn't do a whole hell of a lot for me, to be honest with you. I really want to see Bitcoin back above 65. That's like the very obvious area to get super, super bullish. But, you know, going up is obviously better than going down if you do want to be bullish. So perhaps something to be aware of. But yeah, again, just a very, very quick and short and sweet video here. Just quick, short and sweet video here. Just want to get this information out. Again, quad witching dates typically correlate with major pivots on the market. And typically from that quad witching date to the end of the month is almost, I wouldn't say almost always, but a very high probability of being positive from that date. So that's where I'll end this video. Like I said, I'm preparing for a nice boxing match in Singapore, so I'm recording this well in advance, and I will be signing off on that note. As always, I'm going to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.